What if some of the most important singing you do doesn't happen in a practice room? Today I want to talk about a kind of singing that rarely gets acknowledged because it doesn't happen on stage or in a practice room or in front of an audience. It's the singing that happens while you're living your everyday life. And lately it's been teaching me more than I expected. Welcome to Singer-Songwriter, a space to reconnect with your voice, your music, and the songs waiting to be written. I'm Lainey, singer and songwriter, voice and creativity coach. If you've ever dreamed of writing and singing your own songs, but doubt or perfectionism keeps getting in the way, then grab that notebook full of ideas. It's time to open your voice, trust your sound, and express yourself freely. Your songs are waiting. Let's bring them to life. Before we dive in, if you are enjoying the podcast and you want more behind-the-scenes reflections on singing, songwriting, creativity, the artist's journey, I would love to have you on my email list. Each week I share notes from inside my own creative process, and I share the latest podcast episode, other inspiration for singer-songwriters. It's kind of an experimental space right now, and it's evolving. So join me over there. You can go to reawakenyourvoice.com/insider to join the email list. Once again, that's reawakenyourvoice.com/insider, and you can be part of my newsletter. So lately, I have been singing more than usual, and it feels really good. But it's not in the way that I would have expected or the way that I would consider to be legit in the past. It's not that I am practicing more and I'm not preparing for a performance. I'm not working on technique. I've actually been singing while doing dishes and while gardening and while playing with my sons and walking through the house and just going about my daily life. Singing in the car, singing in the shower. Little melodies pop through and I scribble them down. If a phrase comes to mind, I sing it. If an unfinished song starts tugging at me, then I'll take a moment and explore it. And I don't think it was something that came intentionally. The kind of natural singing that emerges throughout my day feels like it comes from a place of opening the doors, opening the floodgates, and kind of positioning myself as open for inspiration. Just those daily practices of writing and listening and paying attention and noticing. As I do that, there are naturally moments where song just comes through. And there's this freedom in using my voice to play through life. Today I want to share 3 things that I've been noticing. 1, the difference between the critical ear and the creative ear. 2, why singing is so much more than practice and performance. And 3, how everyday singing can help us reconnect with our voice. So let's begin with the first thing. Number 1, the critical ear and the creative ear. So the critical ear, in many ways, we can see it as the inner critic, the one that's harsh and sharp and kind of fierce and mean. But the critical ear can also be the developed ear, the trained ear, the musicianship and the artistry that you've honed over time. Many singers spend years learning how to listen critically. I know I did, through voice lessons and ear training and all my performances, all that experience, auditioning, master classes, all of it. I learned how to identify problems and fix them. Vocally, musically. And that is very valuable. That is part of developing our artistry. And yet, there comes a point where that critical ear can take over and start interfering with the creative ear, the one that listens a little bit more deeply, or maybe it listens a little bit more lightly, more gently. When we are constantly evaluating every sound we make, singing can become heavy. It can start to feel like something you have to control, like your voice is something you have to manage, rather than something that you just get to experience. So I think sometimes we need to let the creative ear lead. It's that part of us that is curious and playful and expressive, and it's the part that just sings, like a burst of song just comes through and you're not thinking about it or analyzing it. You're just allowing the music to flow. So in this playful kind of singing that I sprinkle throughout my day, as I have allowed singing to just be with me throughout the day, I'm remembering the importance of leaning into the creative ear and not letting that critical ear get in the way of joy and music making. Secondly, singing is so much more than practice and performance. My degree is in voice performance. My early career was performance oriented. And so I, in a sense, came to this belief that singing only counts when it's productive or when there is an end goal. I realized I somewhere along the way had acquired this belief that singing was only legit when I was practicing in the practice room for a formal practice session or improving my technique, actively working on my voice, or actively performing in the spotlight, or actively recording in the studio. Only when I was working towards something did it have value. But singing, for me, was always about expression. It was always about play. It was about connecting with others in this human experience, exploring what it means to be alive. It was about having somewhere I could go when life didn't make sense. So I think over time, I've been remembering that and coming back to that. And now I see that some of the most meaningful singing doesn't happen because we're trying to improve our technique, or we're trying to get better. It happens because we are human, and there's something inside of us that wants to be expressed through our voice in the form of music. There's a song that wants to be sung. There's a feeling that needs somewhere to go. So if you're feeling like, oh, I'm out of practice, I need to practice more, I need to get serious about my practice sessions. Well, singing is so much more than practice. And it's so much more than the practice that leads to a performance. Why do you sing? What is singing really about for you? Take it all the way back to the beginning, to the roots, to your why. And lastly, the third point I want to make, I want to highlight the power of reconnecting with your voice outside of the practice room. And, this can be an actual practice room or a metaphorical practice room, your practice space, wherever that space is for you. If you've been feeling disconnected from your voice, it may not be that you need more practice. I had this in my head for the longest time. I just need to get really disciplined and consistent with my practice sessions. And they need to be formal and structured in this way. And I need to go through this series of vocal exercises and warm up my voice properly and da 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 da. Well, that was not fun for me. That was not a fun way to go about it. What I really needed was more play and permission to sing imperfectly. Oh, this is it. I just needed permission to sing imperfectly, to sing casually, to sing without a goal in mind. I just needed to come back to the joy of singing for the sake of singing, for the sake of expressing, connecting. Don't get me wrong, the practice room is important, and artistic growth is part of the journey and something we can all aspire to. But that is not the whole story. I think sometimes we focus so much on vocal technique, but what is really needed is work with the relationship with your voice. And reconnecting with your voice sometimes begins outside of the practice room entirely. I mean, when I was traveling the world with my husband, I was singing in caves and staircases and around campfires and in alleys and open temples and nature, wherever. Nowadays, singing in my everyday life looks like making up songs with my boys while we're playing, or listening to the way the pots and pans cling together when I'm doing dishes and using that as inspiration to just improvise in the moment. It looks like getting a song idea that is flying away, but I try to catch it and I run over to the piano and play a little bit and scribble down a few words in my notebook and then keep going about caring for a home and raising my boys and loving my husband. But through every version of my life, music has been there. Singing, my voice is right there with me. It is a companion. It is a refuge. And so no matter what your life looks like, remember what singing is for you. And think about how you can weave it into your daily life, whatever that looks like right now, and have fun with it. So I could take this in 1,000 different directions, different tangents. But let's kind of gather the thoughts here and do a quick recap. So, first of all, remember the difference between the critical ear and the creative ear. And why, yes, they are both valuable, but sometimes we have to kind of turn off that critical ear to allow the creative ear to lead us. Secondly, singing is so much more than practice and performance. Remember what it is for you. Because singing can also be expression, play, human connection, creative exploration, a companion for your daily life. Come back to what it's really about for you. And lastly, remember that reconnecting with your voice can happen outside the practice room, and often in much more profound ways, because we are in the experience of living life, allowing music to play a greater role in those little moments that are actually the big ones. You know, the older I get, and I'm 40, the more I realize that singing isn't just something I do. It is one of my favorite ways to experience life. That's not just on stage. That's not just during practice or a performance. It's not when everything is sounding the way I want it to. But it's those ordinary moments. It's the quiet moments, the in-between moments. And when I look back at the most meaningful musical moments in my life, they weren't under the spotlights. They weren't in a practice room. They weren't even always for an audience. Sometimes it was just me and my music. It was just me and a melody that felt like it came straight from God, sent to just comfort me and remind me of what it is to be alive. So something you can try this week, rather than making it a goal to improve your singing or to work on your voice, maybe just notice where singing naturally wants to appear. Maybe you're driving in the car, or maybe you're cooking dinner or playing with your kids or humming a melody while folding laundry. But wherever it shows up, just follow it without judgment or a goal in mind, an agenda. Just notice what happens when singing becomes part of everyday life again. Thanks for listening, friend. If this episode moved you or inspired you in some way, would you please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or share this episode with someone who's been praying for a vocal breakthrough? Until next time, keep nurturing that song in your heart. Lots of love.